What's up, guys? I was asked about hand planes and recommending what to use for your shop. And now a lot of that depends on what you do, but I'm going to run down kind of the basics of your standard bench planes. Nothing specialty, just your bench planes. And there's four different categories. You got your block plane, your smoothing plane, your jack plane, your fore plane, and your joiner plane. And I'll explain this real quick. Block plane is described as that because it's just a little block. Carpenters like to use these. Like when I travel on the road doing cabinets, this is my go-to. Honestly, this little guy right here is what I keep in my bag because it's light and I mean it's an inch blade. My face frames are 3/4. That's as much as I need. It's not the most convenient thing, but it's convenient to carry. And that's the thing. Like most people buy these first, but they're honestly one of the least useful planes out of all of these on my bench. Um, Smoothing planes. These ones are extremely important. The difference in these is basically the blade size. I've got a 3, 4, and a 4.5. Three is the smallest. A lot of people don't like them because it's small on your hand and it is a little tight, but I like how delicate these are. I like to use these on a lot of because I build hand planes and stuff and do a lot of small delicate parts. So this is a go-to for me. Number four is everybody or most everybody else's go-to because it's kind of just the most versatile plane there is. And then the 4.5 just has a lot more mass behind it, a bigger blade. I really like this one when I'm working big stuff. First plane I would suggest is a number five, otherwise known as a jack plane, and they call it that because it's a jack of all trades. It's a bigger base to where it can start joining pretty decent sized areas for you, but also it'll smooth out a surface. It'll still ride because you see a smoother, it's going to ride through each wave if you have an inconsistency in your board and keep it smooth so it'll look like it's flat, but it's not. Where this, if you have a flat spot, it's gonna ride over those and take over the high points until you have it completely flat. Four plane is made for taking off a surface. Traditionally, it's for roughing down a surface. But number six, I would recommend getting because it's cheaper than a number seven or a number eight, and I mean you can join a pretty big surface. You can join about 4 feet close to with something like this. And most things you build, you're not going to want to join anything bigger than this. And then a joiner, just bigger will do a bigger surface. You can absolutely join an edge with something like this. It takes more skill. This is gonna do the work for you because you have that big reference surface. So as far as like a rule of thumb, they like to say a number as you get a number four, you get a number five, and then you get some size of joiner, and that's a good starting place. So let's say like this set right here, especially buying vintage, you could probably get this anywhere between 75 to 150, 200, depends on. I mean, I paid a lot for this one because of what it is. Paid a lot for this one because of what it is. I didn't pay hardly anything. I think I paid like $15 for this one. So it just depends on what you're going for. This one's collectible, this one isn't, but it's a completely functional good tool. Anyways, I hope that helps. Now we're going to try to quickly run down specialty planes. So we'll start just here and go over. It's a card scraper plane. If you're going to do hand plane work, you're going to need to start familiarizing yourself with a card scraper. It's how you deal with like really tricky grain because a plane will cause tear out. This is a spoke shave. It's kind of just a handheld plane that it's good for rounding spokes and stuff. It's what I use to carve out spoons and whatnot. Um, this is a rebate plane, a rabbet plane, a shoulder plane. It makes shoulders. Like I've got a depth stop here. I've got a fence here. You plane down to the depth at this, and all of a sudden you've got a shoulder at a different distance. This is a plow plane or a grooving plane. It'll make a dido, a groove, a tongue and groove. It'll do beading. It'll do a lot of different things. But if you're doing router work, both these planes kind of not really that useful. But if you do router power tool work, a router plane, this will clean up your grooves. This blade drops down below the surface and just cleans out the groove. This one's extremely useful. They have all sorts of sizes. I made this one. And then a chisel plane. The blade just sticks out, and this is for if you have like a surface you can clean up into it. It's good for like making cabinets. It's really good for cleaning up glue and stuff like that too. It's a pretty useful plane. It's not the most useful, but I mean, a hand tool worker or a power tool worker would probably get about as much use out of it. Anyways, that's specialty planes in a nutshell.